according to reports, the Niners are reportedly split on who they want to take. Reports say Shanahan wants Mac Jones, while Lynch and the personnel department want Trey Lance. Would you imagine that there's a certain amount of tension between Shanahan and Lynch at this time?
No, and I'll tell you why, Grant.
Okay,
they're not split.
That's.
Are we recording?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Give a little reality to us. How does this really
I'm
work?
gonna give you some reality.
Yeah.
It's inconceivable to me that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, two men that are as good as they are, as good as there is in this business, would trade up for the third pick without conviction in who they want to take. Now, that may have vacillated a little bit over the last several weeks, but here on the morning of the draft, there's no way that I can perceive there's any tension in that room and that they don't know exactly who they want and that they haven't known for weeks. I think it's media hype. I think it's us creating topics of discussion. I think it's awesome because, it brings people, to our platforms where we can talk about it. It's water cooler talk at the office. For any 49er fan, we've created this intrigue, but I can tell you that Kyle and John are sitting back in their chairs right now, confident that they're going to take the guy that they've had conviction about for quite a while. Now, we don't know who that is. Yes. It could be Mac, it could be Trey, it could be Justin, but they're in an alignment. And you and I have talked about this before. In the draft, there's never going to be complete agreement. And when I say complete agreement, I mean everybody in the room. When you're talking about scouts, coaches, personnel executives, your head coach, your GM, but you have to have alignment. But when you're taking the third pick, there better be agreement and alignment. And I can tell you, because I know those two men so well and what they're about, that there is agreement and there is alignment. Now, that agreement and alignment could be, we're going to trade back a couple picks and still get our guy. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes this first round, particularly the first round, so intriguing, is we really just don't know what's been going on in those draft rooms.
Well, according to Todd McShay, I'm going to say Todd McShay, he's saying it was they moved up for Mac Jones, period. But they also moved up early in the process with the intention of being open-minded, particularly toward Justin Fields and Trey Lance, give themselves a month to investigate and do research. And apparently, according to reports, they're blown away by Trey Lance, or a lot of the people in the organization are. And apparently even Kyle Shanahan likes him very much as well. So what you're saying is, even if Trey Lance made the discussion interesting, at this point in time, Kyle and John got to be on the same page.
Yeah, and like I said, Grant, it very well may be Trey Lance, and it very well may be Justin Fields, and it very well may be Mac Jones. But regardless of the one that they pick, when they make that pick, it's not John making the pick, it's not Kyle making the pick, it's the San Francisco 49ers organization making that pick, because there's a true belief that the man that they pick will be the guy that will lead that franchise for years and years and lead them to more Super Bowl championships. It just is. It's like I said, it's inconceivable to me that at this point there wouldn't be an agreement and alignment in that room, especially when you're talking about two level-headed guys like Kyle and John. We're not talking about a couple of putzes. We're not talking about a guy that have only been, I know you're, I'm not insinuating that you are or anyone else is, because
you're using Yiddish and that's my language. So I like that. I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm just telling you from my, almost 40 years of experience doing this. Mm-hmm. Let's not go that far. That makes me sound too old. I've only seen it happen one time, and that was with the 49ers when I was in the 80s, where the GM and the head coach, when they turned that card in, didn't embrace each other and say we got our guy, not you got your guy or I got my guy. We got our guy. Now there may be a scout or two or three in that room when they make their selection tonight that goes, man, I don't know. But they better not voice that, because if they voice that, there's a very good chance they'll be working for another team or not working next year.
Yes. Okay. So let's just say you were in Shanahan's position and you love Mac Jones and your dad loved Mac Jones and you respect your dad and your dad coached in the league and he knows what he's looking at. And John Lynch is your GM and you respect him and he wants Trey Lance. And so does the scouting department. And it's, there's some time left before the draft and you're sitting back and you say, what do I do here? I have conviction, and so does my dad. and I trust them as well. Do I defer or do I overrule them? Is that an unrealistic position to be in as a head coach?
No, and I would tell you this, Grant, there was probably some times in their discussions where that was the case, but that's over now.
Right.
And what Kyle would have had to do is convince John, if in fact John is the final decision maker with regards to who we draft,
which he is,
then I, as Kyle Shanahan, I need to convince him, and I need to convince him overwhelmingly where there's no apprehension. And so I have to present video evidence, and I have to have done, my online interviews, and I have to have the backing of scouts, and I have to have, talk to the head coach that coached the player, whichever, if it's Mac, let's say it's Mac Jones. And I've had to brought my dad in and sat down with John and Kyle and watched film together and evaluated him and spent hours and hours and hours and hours in evaluation and discussion and talking about the future of our franchise and how we run our offense. And you have to convince John, and not just kind of convince him, but convince him when he says to whoever's writing the words down on the card, Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, that John Lynch is, like, in all of his heart is saying, that is our guy.
Yes. Okay, so given all that we've read and heard and all the rumors and conjecture, a few hours before this draft, who do you think the Niners are going to take at number 3?
Mac Jones. That's who I think they're going to take. But I only have a 33% chance of being right. So I don't have any inside information. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves. But at this point in time, when you read the tea leaves, oftentimes you're wrong. And I think the 49ers, what they've done is they've done I think they've done a masterful job of deceiving everybody.
Okay.
And I think it's fantastic. And
like
I said to start this, I know John and I know Kyle and I know him well.
Yeah.
And I know Mike, Kyle's dad. I've competed against all of them, and I have so much respect for them and the way they do their business. And they're measured people, and they're not emotional. And they have not gotten themselves into a predicament. They are absolutely at ease with who they're going to take, and they know right now. They know right now they could walk up and turn in the card right now, unless there's somebody presenting this amazing package to them in terms of a trade that forces them to think about moving back. But I don't believe that's the case.
And what you're saying is you trade 3 first-round picks to move up. It's unlikely you're going to change your mind after the fact on who you wanted, right? Does life work that way? Yeah.
No, unless you get more than you gave up. I mean,
sure.
Otherwise they'll be presented as complete fools if they trade back and don't get the capital gain that they lost or that they traded to move up for. So, and they're not complete fools. I mean, these are smart, successful men. I mean, one of them's going into the Hall of Fame, So, right. As a player, but he's taken that same attitude that he had as a player, and he's transferred it to being a tremendous general manager. So, I have 100% confidence that they're sitting there today knowing exactly who they want to take, and that they're happy and they're excited, and they're not. But I will tell you this also: I think there's only 4 people that know. I think that Kyle knows. I think that John knows. I think that Mike knows, and I think that Jed knows.
That's right.
And I don't think there's anybody else in that room that knows who they're going to take, because if there was, we'd get leaks. And I think Todd McShay. I think he's a great talent evaluator, and I think he gets great inside information. I have a lot of respect for him, and when he says something, I think you have to listen. Mm-hmm. But he's also paid to create hype and speculation and get clicks and
God love him.
So he's one of the best ever. And so is Mel. Yes. So but I believe that they know exactly what they're going to do.
How will you judge if this draft is successful? There's a lot of high stakes on this number 3 pick, given what they gave up to get it.
Well, I think you're going to have to wait and see a couple of years, probably 3 or 4 years, how this pick that they make ends up performing, in the NFL. It's a big jump to go from college, even if it's Alabama, Ohio State, or North Dakota State. It's a big jump to go to the San Francisco 49ers and, walk in a quarterback room with the legacy that room has and the pressure that's on you because you were a high pick. But one thing I'll tell you is you've got a great head coach that's a quarterback guru, taking care of you. They're going to put you in the best position to succeed. They're going to not do things that you're not comfortable with. They're going to push you. They're going to encourage you. They're going to do all the things that that they need to do to help you be successful. We're going to have to wait a few years and just see how the development is. We've seen top 10 picks that flourish. We've seen top 10 picks, and I'm talking about quarterbacks that fail.
Yeah.
That bounce around to 4 teams in 3 or 4 years, and so we're going to have to wait.
Yeah. Are you going to watch all 3 days of the draft?
No.
How do you approach the draft?
Well, I got a lacrosse game tonight, so my son does. So I won't be watching the draft at all. I'll be watching on my phone.
Oh, nice.
And then, my interest in the draft typically is players I've coached or recruited. And in this year's draft, there's I think there'll be 4 guys that I recruited drafted. Jalen Phillips will get drafted. Dimitri Felton will get drafted. Oso Digizou will get drafted, and Brandon Stevens will get drafted. And 2 of those transferred out of UCLA after I left, but Jalen Phillips and Brandon Stevens, but they'll both get drafted. So my interest is always in the guys that I have a personal relationship with, at least at this point.
Of course. And as the years go by, I guess there's fewer. So the personal relationship you got is your son in lacrosse tonight.
That's right.
That's the right choice. How old's your son?
He is a senior in high school.
Oh, cool.
So you can't miss these games, right?
Absolutely not.
Now, game doesn't start till 7, so I'll be able to get a couple hours in. We'll watch the first few picks together before he goes off for his pregame warmups, because he's a big fan as well. And hopefully by that time we know what the Niners are going to do. You've talked about this with me, but it's not like I have a favorite team anymore. But right. I'll always have a great place in my heart for the 49ers just because of the 8 successful years that I spent there.
Yeah. Does your son know where he's going to college?
He's got to decide by Saturday, and he will. He's got a few good options, so we'll see.
Mazel tov. Good luck. Thank you so much, Jim. And I hope to talk to you soon.
All right, Grant. You take care. Hey, good luck tonight.